הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יללי יללללללי. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יללי ילללללי. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. Shabbat Shalom, Shalom Park, and all who are joining us. We use a Siddur made for Shalom Park. If you have it, please join along. If you do not have it, I'm sure that you'll be able to join in anyway, certainly on the Hebrew, if not the English. We are on page 2. Lehu neranana ladonai, nariya letzuya shehenu. Lehu neranana ladonai, nariya letzuya shehenu. Likvad mavanav b'toda, bizmirot nariya lo. Lehu neranana ladonai, nariya letzuya shehenu. Lehu neranana ladonai, nariya letzuya shehenu. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose and meaning. May all who hunger find fulfillment. And may we all live in such a way that this Shabbat day fulfills its promise to us. Come, let us sing joyfully to God a new song. Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash. Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash. I will sing unto God a new song. Yismachu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz, Yiram hayam umlo'o. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth be glad. Let the seas roar and all within it thunder. Adonai malach tagel haaretz yismachu iyim rabim. Anan va'arafel sevivav tzedek umishpat mechon kis'o. Light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright in heart. Exalt in Adonai, you righteous, and give thanks to God's holy name. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lahar kodsho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Praised Adonai our God, and bow towards God's holy mountain, for Adonai our God is holy. We welcome in the Sabbath bride. We're on page 6, bottom page, middle of the page, actually right in the middle. L'chadodi. L'chadodi. Likrat kala. P'nei Shabbat nekabala. L'chadodi. Likrat kala. P'nei Shabbat נקבל שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד. השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה חדותי לקראת כלה. פני שבת נקבלה לחדותי לקראת כלה. פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת. לכו ונחה היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תהילה חדותי לקראת כלה. פני שבת נקבלה לחדותי לקראת כלה. פני שבת נקבלה. We rise as we are able. Physically, if you can, spiritually is just as good. Boi b'shalom ateret bala, kam b'simcha sochala, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala la kadodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nikabala lechadodi לקראת כלה. פני שבת, פני שבת, פני שבת, נקבל כלה. So please be seated if you have indeed risen from your chair. We are on page 10, the Psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat. Tov lehodot, it's good to give thanks, Ladonai, to God. Tov lehodot, Ladonai, ulizameh l'shimcha elyon, lahagid baboker חסדך באמונתך בלילות לילי. יללה 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 La la la, ya la la la. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall thrive like the cedars of Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they shall flourish in the courts of our God. In their old age, they shall still produce fruit. They are still full of sap and freshness, attesting that Adonai is upright, our God, in whom there is no wrong. Middle of page 11. Tzadik kadama yifrach yifrach, tzadik kadama yifrach, tzadik kadama yifrach yifrach, tzadik kadama yifrach. Ke'eres belvanon yiske, ke'eres belvanon yiske, ke'eres belvanon yiske, yiske. Ke'eres belvanon yiske, ke'eres belvanon yiske, ke'eres belvanon yiske, yiske. We are on page 13. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, unripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days, lest my day be today as the one before. lest routine set my ways. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai, hama'ariv, aravim. The Hebrew on page 15, as we accept the love of the world from God. Then we recite the Shema. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And then we return God's love with the V'ahavta. Page 15. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. Torah mitzvot, chukim mishpatim, Otanu limareta. Alkein Adonai Eloheinu v'shochenu kumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu v'orech yameinu v'hem negev u'v'hem negev yomam v'layla le'ahavatcha tasiyeh mimenu le'olamim Baruch ata Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. We're on page 18. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha. Middle of 19. And you shall make for yourself seat on the corners of your garment throughout the ages. The seat are a reminder to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. Out of Egypt to the Sea of Reeds, and across the Sea of Reeds, where we broke out in song and great joy. Mi chamocha b'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, norah tehilot, osef eleh, norah tehilot, osef eleh, malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe, ze'eli anu ve'amaru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, mi chamocha b'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, norah tehilot, osef eleh, norah tehilot, osef eleh, v'ne'emar ki v'dad Adonai et Yaakov, u'go'alo mi'ad hazak mimenu, baruch atah Adonai ga'al Yisrael, mi chamocha b'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, norah tehilot, osef eleh, norah tehilot, osef eleh. Help us, God, to lie down in peace and raise us up to a life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace and guide us with your good counsel. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Eloheinu l'shalom. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Eloheinu l'shalom. Ushmor tzeitenu, uvoenu l'chaim u'l'shalom. Ushmor tzeitenu, uvoenu l'chaim u'l'shalom. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Eloheinu l'shalom. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Eloheinu l'shalom. Ufros aleinu, Sukkot shlomecha, Ufros aleinu, Sukkot shlomecha. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Eloheinu l'shalom. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Eloheinu l'shalom. Page 25. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant us your holy Shabbat as a heritage. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. As we are able, we rise spiritually or physically. On page 26, the Hatzi Kaddish to be followed by our conversation with God, the Amidah. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, b'alma divrach hirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon ובחיי דוחו בית ישראל. בגלה, בגלה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה, יתברך, יתברך, וישתבח, ויתפאר, ויתרומם, ויתנשא, ויתהדר, ויתעלה, ויתהלל, שמי דקדושה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברופאי חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Page 32. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויכול אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת בכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. Page 33. Let's do it together in the English. Heaven, earth, and all their beings were finished. God completed on the seventh day the work that had been done, and ceased upon the seventh day from all the work that had been done. God blessed the seventh day and set it apart, for on it God had ceased from all the work that had been done in carrying out creation. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu, Ritzei v'mnuchatenu, Kadshenu b'mitzvotecha, v'tein chelkeinu b'toratecha, Sabenu mituvecha, v'samchenu b'yeshuatecha, v'tahel libeinu, v'tahel libeinu, le'avdecha be'emet V'hava ratzon Shabbat kodshecha, v'yanuchu v'Yisrael, mikadeshei shemecha, Baruch atah Adonai, mikadesh HaShabbat. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Le'olam. Grant lasting peace to your people Israel, to all who dwell on earth, and for you are the sovereign Lord of peace. May it please you to bless your people Israel in every season and at every moment with peace. We take a moment for silent prayer. Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru Imaru, Amen. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Imaru, So this week is Parsha of Emor, but today is Lag BaOmer. So in the counting of the Omer from the second night of Pesach to when we arrive at Mount Sinai and receive the Torah on the 50th day, which is Shavuot, we have this break in the middle called Lag BaOmer. Lag from the Hebrew letters Lamed and Gimel, meaning 33. So we're on the 33rd day of counting the Omer. And in Israel, Lag BaOmer takes on a special meaning because it's really a break in a time of what's semi-mourning period, this 50 days of semi-mourning, or 49 days because 50th day is Shavuot. And they celebrate by getting haircuts, which they haven't been able to do now for 33 days, and by having big bonfires. And one of the other things that they do is they can get married on this day. So during this period of mourning, if you're observant, you don't get married during this whole period. But for many liberal Jews, Lag BaOmer doesn't just mark the day when you can get married, but it marks the end of this basic mourning period when you can continue to be married. So in honor of that, I thought I would read for you a story. It's called 10 Traditional Jewish Stories. It's retold by Gloria Goldreich. And the story is called The Matchmaker, and it's adapted from I.L. Peretz's story. A wealthy Jewish nobleman lived with his wife and son on a huge estate. He had everything he wanted, but still he was sad. He worried that his son would not be able to find a Jewish bride, for there were no other Jews living nearby. One winter night, a heavy snow began to fall. The nobleman was looking out his window and saw an old woman walking through the thick white snowdrifts towards the house. She wore a high bonnet, and her thin shawl fluttered in the cruel, strong wind. She seemed to glide across the snow. The nobleman and his wife welcomed her to their home. They prepared food for her and a comfortable bed. They gave her their best linens, their fullest pillows, and their warmest blankets. "I only want to rest for a short while," said the old woman. "I would like to pay you for your trouble." "It is our pleasure," the nobleman's wife said warmly. "Thank God we have the money and the riches that we need." The old woman smiled. Later, as she was leaving the house, she turned to her host and said, "Surely there must be something I could give you." "Only God can give us what we need now. A Jewish bride for our son. Each night, I recite special prayers to God, written by the wise Sarah Bat Tuvim." "Then God will surely help you," said the guest. "And I have a gift for your son's future bride." She reached under her shawl and handed the nobleman's wife a pair of golden slippers. A gift from Sarah Bat Tuvim. And she vanished into the night. Many, many miles away, a poor Jewish coal maker lived in a tiny hut in the heart of a huge forest. His wife was long dead, but his kind and gentle daughter kept house for him. When he could not sleep, she read to him the prayers of the wise Sarah Bat Tuvim. One night, after her father had fallen asleep, the door to the hut suddenly opened and an old woman entered. She wore a high bonnet and a thin shawl. Her eyes were bright, and she smiled tenderly at the girl. "Don't be frightened," she said. "I am Sarah Bat Tuvim, and I have brought you a gift." She reached under her shawl and handed the girl a piece of velvet, satin threads of gold and silver and pearls. "Here," she said, "I want you to embroider a bag for your future bridegroom's prayer shawl." Years passed, and the nobleman sent his son out into the world to search for a bride whose slender feet would fit the shoes received from Sarah Bat Tuvim. He traveled very far, for many years, and at last he decided to return home. But he lost his way in a thick forest. It was Friday, and the sun was setting. He could not travel on Shabbat, and was happy to see a little hut between the trees. The charcoal maker welcomed him and invited him to share this Sabbath meal. The young man noticed that his host saved a portion of the food and carried it outside. "The food is for my sweet daughter," the old man explained. "She has no shoes. She is ashamed to come in because she is barefoot, so she eats outside." The young man took the golden slippers from his pocket. "Perhaps these will fit your daughter," he said. And minutes later, the charcoal maker returned with his daughter. "They fit," he announced happily. The nobleman's son and the charcoal maker's daughter were married beneath the stars. As they left the wedding canopy, an old woman wearing a high bonnet and a thin shawl came toward them. Her face was bright with happiness and holiness. Indeed, a match for blessings. So we also send out blessings for healing. And if you have names and want to put them in the chat or say them out loud, now is the time to do that. And the words for Mishaberach are on page 37. Mishaberach Avotenu Makor Abraha Imotenu to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu makor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. So send those good wishes out around the county, around the state, around our country, out around the world, and up into the heavens. We rise again as we are able on page 39 for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tekdu l'yotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim livnei melech malchei hamalachim hakadosh baruch hu. Page 40. It is up to us to hallow creation, to respond to life with the fullness of our lives. It is up to us to meet the world, to embrace the whole, even as we wrestle with its part. It is up to us to repair the world and bind our lives to truth. Therefore, we bend the knee and shake off the stiffness that keeps us from the subtle graces of life and the supple gestures of love. Page 43. Kakatuv b'toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz, bayom ha'hu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who have died at the season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own Zikronam Livracha. May their memories be a blessing. We are remembering at Shalom Park Arvilla O'Neill, Gertrude Grunberg, Peggy Kaplan, Amiko Yasuzara, Betty Press, Flora Simikhenko, David Barron, Edith Turilli, Max Gold, Nina Krasnaya, Mary Miller, Dorothy Lankford, Helen Lerner, Ida Reisman, Ann Moschel, Abe Levine, Raphael Klebe, Harvey Resnick, Esther Bender, Joe Smith, James Dyer, Lola Farrer, Beverly Rosen, Homer Drissel, Alba Hemsey, Helen Klein, Gloria Ronayana, Milton Wiggins, Philip Volok, and Dorothy Lieber. If you have other names, now is the time to say them. Put them into the chat. If you are in the first week of Shiva, if you're in the first month of 30 days of mourning, if you are in the first year, please rise now for Kaddish. If it is your custom to rise for those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, please rise and join us. Kaddish is on page 45. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah ba'alma di v'ra chirute v'yamlich malchute v'chaye chonu v'yomei chonu v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agalau v'zman kariv v'imaru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal shmei dekudesha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shalom Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, all who dwell on earth, v'imru. Amen. May the one who brings peace to the heaven grant comfort to all who mourn. Together we say, Amen. We take a moment to light candles and say Kiddush and Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. And Kiddush is found on the back page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'haval v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehillah lemikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim ki anu v'harta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava uv'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Oops. Okay, here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lachem min haaretz. Amen. And we conclude with Shalom Aleichem. Angels are another name for feelings. When we love and act with kindness, we create angels of love and kindness. It is our job to fill our world with angels and messengers of love and kindness, who link people together as one family. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat Shalom. Have a beautiful weekend, a lovely week. I'll see you next Shabbat.